Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. I don't know why I'm unfocused. Camera, there we go. That's better. Now it's focused. Perfect. Now you get to look better at this ugly mug. But how is everyone doing? How's it going, Nick? Nice stream streak. Now that I'm, doing this, regular again, people can build those streaks properly. I'm still yawning. So that's a thing. But anyway, we are here. We're back with more Eden of Grisaia. Once again. Just literally picking up where we left off. Last time being Yuji being led back to his cell in Ichigaya, being forced to go to sleep due to, a little injection. Having something of a nightmare dream thing where all the people that have died on him and those he has killed are just there looking at him, not speaking. But then the only one that talks to him is the apparition of Asako. that acts exactly like her, talks exactly like her, and supposedly thinks exactly like her in these dreams. And more or less convinces Yuji, yeah, you don't need to die. You really think you should die just because you saved five people? That's it. You're done? You should die now? You don't want to see the fruits of that labor? Hi, Nevermore. How's it going? Yeah, so it's like, why? Why would you give up now? No, you probably should stay alive. And yeah, that was basically his subconscious telling him to don't just give up, live. Sup, nerd? Nothing too much. What's up with you? Still yawning. Going back to the girls' side, it was more kind of the same. Them just kind of going about their day. Apparently, this is a thing. Stream streaks have been a thing for a little while now. But I mean, I think on mobile, they sort of don't pop up as often as they should. They're also just kind of glitched in general. Stream streaks are also just been glitched quite a bit. I know for the longest time, mine didn't pop off with the one streamer I was watching. It's like, they've been live for so long. I tune in pretty much every time they were in. And the streak hasn't even appeared. Feeling pretty good? Good. I'm glad. Oh, yeah, I'm yawning again. Blah. Oh, Moses. Alright, where was I? Right, the girls are just kind of going about their day, more or less. Kind of puttering about because they don't really know what to do with Sakaki being the one still kind of taking the lead. She's doing, like, video calls and shit with Jimmy. Ugh. Just to kind of learn more. And while they're kind of worthless, she could be on a call with them for 2 hours, but only get maybe a half hour's worth of quality conversation. It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. So while they're annoyed, they're still not giving up hope. They're gonna find some way to help out Yuji. They'll find some way to do it. And also, same time earlier too, Chizuru and JB just kind of hang out talking about just everything. How JB is probably going to be out of a job, probably kicked out, lose all of her everything because of this. And also how Chizuru's one goal was to find a place to, like, make a place to help people, like all the girls in Mihama. And now she's essentially got to start back from zero because all the funding's dried up. Yeah, so things aren't looking super great, but everyone's kind of trying to look on the bright side. I didn't know anything on mobile for a long time. Now that I've acknowledged it, the pop-ups fuck off. It took too long to go off. What the fuck? I didn't even hear it. The menu music is just so loud, I didn't even hear it. Let me load this. Alright, I'll play that one because I didn't hear it at all. So it's just Baron is what?
Yes, we all agree. Baron is an idiot.
There we go. It's so soft compared to the game. Just so soft and quiet compared to the game. But yes, I am indeed an idiot. Always have been, always will be. Okay, let's get into good old Grisaia, shall we? Get a little bit further into it. Alrighty. Okay. At the same time this was happening, Mihama Women's Corps raid leader unit Komine Sachi and her comrade, the notoriously gung-ho squad support gunner Irisu Makin. Oh my god. The LARP has extended to them now. We're squatting in the PX smoking area. That is the parking lot outside the local convenience store. Like a pair of juvenile delinquents, sharing double-stick popsicles as they discuss the situation. Oh my god. I think my stream arrival routine is complete. Yep, call you a nerd, redeem something. Yep, that's everything. Good routine. I swear I pulled the... I think it's okay. Aww.
しつこい女だな、うぜえなって言われるのは分かってるけど、もう一度言っておくね。もしマキちゃんが戦うなら、私も一緒に行くから、絶対に一人では行かないでね。分かってるのよ。
As Sashi herself had admitted, she'd stated this so many times already that it was getting a little absurd. But Makino wasn't actually as rash as her friends seemed to believe. Not too long ago, an impulsive action on her part had set off a chain of events that had ended with both herself and Yuji suffering serious injuries. Well, he doesn't have a robot arm, so I think he's good. She understood all too well that charging forward overconfidently would cause trouble not only for herself, but for the people she cared about.
実際、何か行動を起こそうにもさ、まだわからないことが多すぎるし、今はまだデメリットが5のままなのよ。
You guys should be hearing this all right. Yes, good.
5? 前にね、お兄ちゃんが言ってたのよ。悪条件が5つ揃った狙撃は必ず失敗するって。ねえさっちん、一人前の狙撃手になる条件って何だと思う？
You're asking someone who isn't a sniper.
ちゃんと弾を当てること？それは前提なのよ。それができなきゃ狙撃手じゃないし、迷わず引き金が引けないと話にならないのよさ。結果が重要ってことなのかな。つまり勝ち続けるってこと？では勝ち続けるための条件とは？
Okay, where are you going with this?
負けないこと。その通り。
Never
なんだ
lose.
か全問答みたいだね。勝ち続けることと負けないことは似ているようで全然違うのよ。それこそ3式戦と5式戦ぐらい違うのよさ。
Winning every fight and never losing a fight. I guess they are different. I guess winning a fight and never losing is different. Just asking without a thought. Huh.
真剣勝負における結果といえば勝利と敗北の2パターン。要は倒すか倒されるかでしょ。
Okay.
けどそれは現場を知らない制服組、つまりは命令を出す側の考え方なのよ。現場を知っている人間なら勝敗には4パターンあることを知っている。知らないやつは生き残っていない。4パターン？ 1. 完全勝利。2. 完全敗北。
Oh.
引き分け。4. 不戦敗。この4つな。
But she's asking a pro sniper question without thought. Ah, okay. So 4 outcomes to any kind of battle or conflict. Complete victory, complete defeat, draw, or loss by forfeit. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
まずね、絶対に勝ちたいなら欲張っちゃいけない。最初から勝ちを狙ってはいけない。これは鉄則。もちろん負けてもいけないのよ。完全敗北は死を意味するし、死んじゃったらもうスコア挽回の機会はない。だから引き分けか不戦敗でよしとするのよさ。弾切れ、時間切れで双方が諦めれば引き分け。これは負けじゃないのよ。
Okay.
そしてそもそも戦いを仕掛けないのも狙撃兵としては負けじゃない。時には負けると分かっていても戦わなければならない時もあるけど、それは特別なケースなのよ。絶対に負けると分かっている勝負には乗らないのが鉄則。
I mean, that technically goes without saying. Don't get into a fight you know you're gonna lose. If you know you're gonna lose, don't fight.
負けなければそれでいい。戦績を焦る必要はないのよさ。生き残れば必ず勝利の機会はある。そんな考えのもと、しぶとく生き残ったやつこそがエースになるのよ。
なるほど。確かに風見さんは私にも焦らなくていい、努力の結果はいつか必ず出るっていつも言ってた。
And I mean, he's usually right about that.
でだ、ここでさっきの5つの悪条件の話な。どんなに有利な条件であっても不利な条件が5つ以上重なっているときは潔く諦める。
Okay, so what are all the factors working against you guys right now then?
たとえ100の有利があっても5の不利があれば必ず諦める。10年に一度の絶好のチャンスであっても5の不利があれば諦める。これがお兄ちゃんが言うところの対処をしないまでも負けない戦い方の条件なのよ。
現状ではまず敵すら分かっていない。
Okay.
風見さんの居場所は分かってもどんな状態に置かれているのかも分かってない。
Alright, so I guess that's 3. We don't know who the enemy is, don't know where he is, and don't know the details. So that's 3 disadvantages.
武器もエアガンじゃ話にならないし、味方も殺人だけだし、お兄ちゃんを助けた後どうすればいいのかすら分かっていない。
So another disadvantage is they don't have real weaponry, they don't have real guns. She's only got them as an ally. And they don't know what to do after, so they got 6 things going against them.
こんな状態で飛び出していって何ができる？もし今回のケースが負けると分かっていても戦わなければいけないケースであったとしても、
You just said we're not supposed to do that.
まずは戦う相手ぐらいは分かってからじゃないとどうしようもないのよさ。
もし戦うべき相手が見定まったら？
もちろん戦うのよ。たとえ世界中を敵に回してでもね。なあ、サッチンさんよ。
なーに？マキちゃんさんよ。
Maki-chan-san.
私についてきてくれるっていうサッチンの気持ちはすっげえ嬉しいのよ。でもさ、私と違って、
Oh.
サッチンは帰れる場所あるんじゃね？それに病院のお母さんはどうすんのよさ。
大丈夫。私がいなくなっても100年はお母さんの面倒を見てくれるようにお金は残してきたし。
Still, do you want to leave her alone?
それにもしお母さんの意識があったらきっと私にこう言うよ。それがサチにとってどれだけ大切なことか。もう一度よく考えて自分で決めなさいって。だったら私はマキちゃんを見捨てたり裏切ったりなんてできないよ。それが友達っていうものでしょ。同じお釜のご飯を食べてずっと一緒に戦ってきたマキちゃんが行くというのなら、私も地獄の底までついていくよ。
That is one heck of a friend.
きっと後悔するのよ。もっと普通に生きることもできたのにって。
Coulda, but didn't, I guess, because you wanted to follow this small brat into battle against the government.
しないよ。ねえ、マキちゃん。この間、すっごくお腹が空いてる時に、みんなで1個のパイナップルの缶詰を奪い合うようにして食べたよね。私ね、あの時、すごく楽しかった。今はまだ、どうでもいい些細な思い出でしかないけれど、10年後、20年後に思い出した時、素直にあの頃は楽しかったなってそう思えるような記憶になるといいなって私は思ってる。 も今ここで背を向けたらきっとそんな記憶も思い出したくもない記憶になっちゃう気がする。どうしてあの時私はって、それこそ絶対に後悔すると思う。
10年経とうが20年経とうが快感は快感だぜ。
Oh my god.
そうかもしれない。でもきっと一人で食べてもあんなに美味しくはないよね。だからまたみんなでパイカン食べたいね。今度は風見さんも一緒に。
バカだなぁサッチは。バカなのよさ。
You're an idiot, but you're our idiot, right? That's how it always goes. You're an idiot, but you're our idiot.
バカでいいんだよ、マキちゃん。
You're both crying.
あと
Okay, no, only Machina is. Sometimes a can of pineapple chunks isn't just a can of pineapple chunks. They'd been very hungry, true, but that wasn't the only reason it had tasted so delicious. When you're eating them with comrades, people with whom you've shared joy and sadness, even chunks of syrupy fruit can taste amazingly good. If a friend was volunteering for hardship, they would do the same. They'd known the sadness and frustration of being left behind, and they were sick of it. As long as they could stay on their feet, they'd walk with their comrades. And if they collapsed from their wounds, they'd crawl forward through the dirt. All for the sake of a future where they might eat pineapple bits out of a can together with smiles on their faces. Oh my god. Getting all mushy. The decision these two reached on this evening, in front of this convenience store, would later be known as the Twilight Oath. For fuck's sake, they're making it too big of a thing. Are we gonna get Michiru talking to herself? Might possibly be... Okay, yeah, she's talking to... It's Michiru talking to other Michiru. Okay. At about the same time this monumentous arrangement was being reached, Matsushima Michiru was shut up alone in her room, having a discussion of sorts with herself.
どうしよう。
There was no telling how many times she'd muttered these words already. She understood that worrying wasn't going to get her anywhere. But she didn't know what else to do. She didn't even know what to think about. Michiru was well aware she wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but at times like this, her inability to figure things out quickly was particularly frustrating. The harder she tried, the heavier her head felt. Her thoughts moved in slow, ponderous circles, like passengers on a creaky old Ferris wheel. Eventually, the ride ground to a complete halt, and she found herself speaking to the other Michiru within her.
どうすればいいのかな。どう思う？
Must be kind of convenient having, you know, just a second person you can talk to at pretty much any moment. Who sees everything you see, but can take it from a different perspective.
もう答えが出ている質問を私にしないでもらえる？でもも機動隊もないわよ。君はもうこのまま風見雄二と会えなくなってもいいの？彼のことが嫌い？そうじゃないけど。なら答えはもう出ているんじゃない？そりゃあまあそうですけど。でも私に何ができるの？さあ、でも頑張ることはできるんじゃない？頑張る。そう、頑張る。何をやるにしても最初から諦めていてはダメだって君は彼から学んだでしょ？
こでツンデレでしょ。別に彼のためじゃない。彼がいないと悲しい自分のために行動しなさい。彼を救うのはそのついでよ。ついで。勘違いしないでよね。って感じ。
My god, being tsundere to herself.
そうか、そうね。
Oh my god.
変に賢く生きようとしたって君には無理。
You're too stupid to think this through. Just go along with it.
君は君らしくもっと素直に感情で行動してもいいんじゃない。今までだってずっとそうしてきたし、これからもきっとそれは変わらない。君はそれでいいんだよ。そして私はそれに反対しない。それだけのこと。
うん。
In the end, she had to make up her own mind. And once she set off on her path, she'd be fully responsible for that choice. If she ended up having to suffer some unpleasant consequences, that was okay. It didn't feel great to admit, but she was used to being miserable. But what if her actions ended up getting someone else in trouble? What if everything took a turn for the worse because of her mistakes? The thought was enough to paralyze her with fear. Michiru had once watched a very dear friend disappear right before her eyes. She couldn't bear to have that happen again. Oh, her friend on the roof. Oh, God. But then again, on that day, she hadn't managed to say anything. Not, "Don't leave me." Not, "I'll come with you." And she regretted that deeply, even now. What to do? What could she possibly do? The more she thought, the more conflicted she grew. It was enough to make her want to scream. Angry Michiru noises.
うるさ。
Well, she just gotten yelled at by herself. Inner conflict might sound kind of cool, but Michiru knew all too well that she really was just leaning on her other self yet again. She needed someone to pull her along and push her forward, or she'd never do anything at all. That was dependence, plain and simple. She'd thought this over at length on the day when she was buried alive. Back then, after deciding that she wanted to live, she'd crawled up through the dirt. And when she'd reached out toward hope, who was it that had grasped her hand? Kazumi Yuji, of course. I mean, he was the one who put her in the hole to begin with. And she was like, what, barely 6 inches underground? And right now, he was stuck in a deep, dark hole of his own. Didn't that mean it was her turn to take him by the hand? If she was ever going to be his equal, she couldn't just rely on others to make her decisions for her. She knew that. She knew that, but... Frustrated Michiru noises.
だからうるさいってば。
God damn it. Everyone wanted to do something, but there wasn't much to be done. Everyone feared that someone else might act rashly, and so they admonished themselves to be careful, even if no one else was. Some of them had already grown firmly determined. Some were still brooding endlessly. But most were already looking forward to the moment where things would come to a head, quietly biding their time as they tried to decide what they would do. Yeah, so they're all just, we don't know what the fuck to do, or... Yeah. They're kind of like just spinning themselves in circles right now. It's kind of all they're doing. They're just spinning in circles. They don't know what to do. They know what they want to do, but don't know how to do it. If anyone else is going to do something that's going to, fuck it all up. If they will do something that's fucking it up, so they're all kind of like stepping on their own feet to not do anything. ironically enough. The urge to do something is stopping them from doing something. All too soon, that day arrived. The final day of Mihama Academy. Oh. As of midnight, the school would be closed down. This was the end. Once the day's scheduled lessons were complete, the classroom where they'd spent so much time would be locked, and their school would disappear. While this had been communicated to them in advance, it still didn't feel quite real. There wasn't much tension in the air at first. But before the afternoon's elective classes, all of Mihama's students were called to their classroom. And when all the visiting lecturers who had served as their teachers also filled into the air-conditioned room, the mood finally began to change. What was about to take place here? As the students braced themselves, the school's principal, one Tachibana Chizuru, walked to the podium with a mild expression on her face, paused to clear her throat, and then proceeded to describe Mihama Academy's financial and operational difficulties before restating the details of its pending closure.
在校生の皆さんにお知らせです。かねてよりお知らせしていた通り、本日24時をもちまして、本校美浜学園は廃校となります。
Oh.
学生の皆様におかれましては、あらかじめご了承ください。
In the suddenly solemn atmosphere of that classroom, the principal's upbeat voice seemed a bit out of place. Nothing she was saying came as any surprise, but her words still had an impact. The school really was shutting down. That fact had lodged itself into the students' hearts like a thorn.
今後の皆さんの進路につきましては、この場にいる教員全員がいつでも応じますので、遠慮なく相談してください。すでに進路を決めている方に関しては相談の必要はありませんが、あなたたち学生だけで相談し、進路を決定することは禁じます。深く考えることもなく誰かの誘いに乗ってみたり、また相手の事情を考えず、自分の誘いに乗らぬものを蔑んでみたり。
Okay.
そういった事態を想定しての禁断であることをご理解ください。これはあなたたち自身が自分で決めなければいけないことです。もうすでに自分の進路を決めている方も、
No, I didn't think we'd get the,
もう一度考え直してみてください。
the closure of Mihama.
その上で、私たち教員がいくらでも相談に乗ります。なお、午後の選択授業は予定を変更し、進路相談のための時間とします。各自、希望進路に応じて相談したい教員があれば、この後、各教員の研究室へ足を運んでください。
I kind of feel bad if you're like...
午後6時まで待機しています。
I would kind of feel bad if you're like the one lecturer in this school that doesn't get visited by any of the 5 students in it. Like, imagine you apparently left that little of an impression, they don't even want to hear your advice. That would suck ass. You're just waiting around all day, 6 o'clock comes and you don't even see a single one. It's just like, oh. That would just be heartbreaking.
私からは以上です。
With her concise speech completed, the principal stepped down from the podium. Without turning around, she walked out of the classroom, followed by the lecturers. Soon enough, only Mihama's 5 students remained in the room.
つまり、午後の授業はなしってこと？
Yes, Amane, that's what you had to take from all that. There's no classes now.
そのようね。
After that brief exchange, the classroom fell back into a heavy silence. A discussion between friends was no way to make decisions about the future. The group hadn't taken the principal's warning on that point too seriously, but for whatever reason, no one was speaking. Did they already understand each other's intentions? Or had they simply realized that, under the circumstances, they had to make their own final decisions? As everyone watched each other, trying to assess the situation, one of the five broke the stalemate. Surprisingly enough, it was Komine Sachi. Quietly getting up from her seat, she strode to the class's front door without meeting the gazes of her classmates. After sliding open the door, she turned back and bowed slightly to the room as a whole, then left without a word. Huh. No one had asked her any questions. No one had tried to stop her. The next to rise from her seat was Matsushima Michiru. There was nothing solemn about her attitude. One might almost have thought she was heading to the bathroom during a recess. Of course! Joining her hands behind her head in an artificially casual fashion, she made her way to the classroom's rear door. Reaching it, she paused abruptly, breathed in as if about to speak, then looked down and studied her slippers for a moment. In the end, she left without saying whatever had been on the tip of her tongue. Most likely, there were countless words swirling around inside Michiru's head. Knowing how it must have felt to keep all that bottled up inside, no one could bring themselves to call out to her. Next, Suo Mane and Irisu Makina stood almost simultaneously. The timing appeared to be coincidental. They hadn't exchanged glances. Normally, the two of them were as intimate as sisters, but at the moment, one might have almost thought that they were in the middle of a fight. As if to emphasize their disinterest in each other's actions, Amane headed for the front door while Makina walked toward the rear. Huh. Like the others, they opened their doors wordlessly, but... Michiru's probably bawling her fucking eyes out on the other side of the door, isn't she? Yeah, she's fucking crying. Despite Michiru's admirable efforts to make an impressive exit, it seemed she'd gotten paranoid that the others might be making fun of her for it. Instead of walking off down the hallway, she'd apparently pressed her ear to the door to listen in. Oh my, okay, never mind, she was fucking eavesdropping for no good reason. She'd apparently pressed her ear to the door to listen in, making things slightly awkward when Makina opened it. God fucking mighty. Still blocking the way, Michiru stared down at the girl in front of her. For her part, Makina gazed right back up at her classmate. The staring contest went on for quite some time, but eventually Michiru turned around and left, with Makina following in her footsteps. Now alone in the classroom, Yumiko found herself wondering about her departed classmates. Were they actually going off to discuss their futures with the teachers who were waiting in their offices? More importantly, what was she herself going to do? She really ought to know that much, but the answer remained unclear. For some reason, she found herself remembering something she'd overheard once. One afternoon, probably some time ago by now, Yuji had been playing with Makina as usual when he spoke the words in question. Oh, what did he say? What did he say? Once you decide something's impossible, you'll never get anywhere with it. It wasn't an especially memorable statement, but for some reason, it had resonated deeply with Yumiko. You can't try to pull yourself back together. Oh wait, you can try to pull yourself back together, but once your willpower's failed you, it inevitably gives way again. Eventually, giving up starts to come as a relief. In retrospect, it felt like Yuji was always saying oddly significant things, though perhaps her mind was playing tricks on her in his absence. Most of what he says kinda is supposed to, like, I guess be encouraging. In some way, but it's fucking Yuji. We know how he is. He'll say it in the most condescending or rude way possible. Another memory flashed through Yumiko's mind. Makina had been tugging Yuji's arm frantically, trying to convince him to hurry so they wouldn't miss the start of some television show. But in a composed tone of voice, he told her a commander doesn't run in front of their men. No matter what the circumstances, a commander never gets flustered. They act calmly and carefully. If nothing else, they stayed damn, I'm adding a they in there for no reason. Blah. Learn to read. If nothing else, staying composed means you won't be making the people under your command more anxious than they need to be. Sheer willpower can't make the impossible a reality. Still, there was the case of a certain lieutenant who'd boasted, "Bullets can't hit me," while standing boldly at the front line of a terrible battle. And when he came through it unscathed, the men who'd witnessed this no longer hesitated to trust him with their lives. God damn. The balls of steel on that man. After speaking these words thoughtfully to the empty classroom, Yumiko rose slowly from her seat. And then, imitating the students, had left the classroom with determined strides. She took her own first step toward the future she'd chosen to believe in. Alright, let's go! Alright, Yumiko's getting determined. Alright, we are now 17% of the way through! Oh, man, yeah. I'm going to be talking a lot with this one. I gotta read a lot. Read, motherfucker, read! After leaving the school building, Yumiko ultimately returned to her room. Rather than doing anything in particular, she sat around waiting for time to pass. To be more precise, it wasn't that she had nothing to do, but rather that she simply couldn't manage to focus on anything. A part of her was waiting impatiently for the day to end, but at the same time, knowing how little time remained filled her with anxiety. Yay. In combination, these conflicting emotions made it difficult to take any specific action. Letting out a sigh that had been sitting heavily at the bottom of her lungs for some time, Yumiko glanced up at the clock on the wall. Her wall. Blah. Somehow, it was nearly 6 in the evening. 6 p.m. was the time limit. After 6, the instructors who were standing by to offer their advice and assistance would pack up and head home. Speaking with them might offer her different paths forward. Once they left, her options would narrow significantly. The power LED on the laptop sitting in front of Yumiko changed from orange to green. She'd put off packing her computer until the very last moment. Closing the machine, she slipped it into her bag and slung it over her shoulder. Staring at the clock, she rose halfway from her seat and sat back down. This process repeated itself a number of times. But with about 15 minutes remaining, her patience finally ran out. Standing up at last, she looked around the room in which she'd isolated herself for much of her time at Mihama Academy. Her shelves were full of her favorite books. With one glance at any given title, Yumiko could vividly recall the anguish she'd felt at the time she was reading it. The stink of misery had thoroughly ingrained itself into this room. It was, in a sense, a cage which she'd confined herself in. After today, she might never see it again. On the morning of his departure, one well-known adventurer supposedly set fire to his cabin home in order to strengthen his resolve. Jesus, just burned down his house so he'd have to keep going, huh? With a dormitory room, that wasn't exactly a viable option, but Yumiko did believe herself prepared to leave the place behind for good. Still, when she reached out to turn off the lights, she found herself hesitating. It wasn't too late to turn back. Was this really what she wanted to do? Her fingers stiffened, paralyzed by doubt. Oh yeah, once she turns those lights off and walks out that door, there's really no going back, really. She just gotta keep on trucking from that point. If she kept running away from this, nothing would ever change. She was at a turning point in her life. A watershed moment. Turning to flee would lead her exactly nowhere. She knew that all too well. Come on, Yumiko, just do it. In the form of a long, soft sigh, Yumiko pushed her weakness out of her. And with the flick of her finger, she turned off the lights. This room was part of the past now. She had a new path to follow. Steeling herself, she strode out into the hallway. And in that moment, her time in Mihama Academy effectively came to an end. As of now, she was no longer a student. Sakaki Yumiko was her own person. Nothing more, nothing less. It wouldn't inconvenience anyone else if she were to take action. Of course, once she stepped outside the school gates, the extravagant freedom she had enjoyed within the bounds of Mihama's walls would come to an end. Whew. But she was taking that step willingly, in pursuit of true freedom and to regain something she'd lost. Her tranquil life inside this birdcage was over. As Yumiko closed the door on her darkened room, she thought she felt a long-stopped clock inside her begin to tick once more. Oh, hi, Amane. Suo Amane called out to Yumiko. It seemed as if she'd been waiting for this very moment. She had a feeling Yumiko was just gonna bug her off, wasn't she? She was leaning against the hallway wall with her head hanging forward listlessly. Her bangs obscured the expression on her face. And her arms were folded under her chest, as if to emphasize her formidable assets. Oh my god. Reminds me when I graduated college. Yeah. It's something. You're just kind of leaving, you're literally leaving the place behind in the past. Never to see it again. Not like this, but somewhat, yeah. Just, you're leaving something you knew behind. No going back anymore.
止めないでね。今行かなければ、きっと私は一生どこへも行けないような気がするの。どこへ行くつもり？聞いてどうするの？どうしようかな。とりあえず、どこへ行くにしても、運転手は必要でしょ？
She is the only one with a license.
運転手だけいても、車がないわ。
They're gonna take the car from the school, aren't they? To be sure, Amane had always been there to help when Yumiko wanted to purchase something too large to carry. But the mini truck they'd used on those occasions didn't belong to either of them. it was the property of the school. Rebellious young people grabbing the keys on the way out the door was a tradition of sorts, granted. But a parting gift like that wouldn't go unnoticed, and the last thing they needed was to be tracked down and arrested for theft.
じゃあ飯炊き女かな。どこへ行っても食事はするわけだし、私がいれば毎食おヤングという地獄は見ないで済むよ。
Yumiko, get the hint. She's basically saying, I'm coming with you. You're not going alone.
それは確かに魅力的なお話だけれど。
Suo Amane had the option of returning to her family. There was no need for her to participate in a lonely, hopeless struggle just because she felt obligated to do so. With so much pain and violence in her past, who could blame her for choosing a safer and surer path forward? It wasn't like she had to keep fighting the good fight. She could head over to the paymaster to collect the salary she'd earned, along with some canned food and a few blankets, and hitch a ride back home with a passing truck. When their wounded daughter appeared on their doorstep, her parents would surely be kind and patient. Sooner or later, she'd meet a better man than Kazumi Yuji. An ordinary family would suit her fine. In fact, it would probably be the best possible thing for her after all she'd been through. Suo Amane was the sort of person who would appreciate the true value of an ordinary life.
ここから先は辛い戦いになるかもしれない。もう普通の生活には二度と戻れないかもしれない。バカなことを考えなければよかったと後悔するかもしれない。それでも
She's giving her one last out. It's just one last out. Okay, you do this, no going back. At all.
普通に生きるって確かに幸せな人生だろうね。でもさ、そういう人生ってこれで本当に良かったのかっていう疑問は一生ついてくると思うんだ。その場で足を止めてしまった私を残して、眩しい光の中に足を進め消えていったクラスメイトの背中を、きっと私は一生夢に見るんじゃないかな。私、もうそういうのうんざり。それにね、榊さん、私は戦いに行くんじゃないよ。私は逃げない女になりたい。ただそれだけ。
She already abandoned one friend. She doesn't want to abandon another.
山の中でじっと助けを待ってた私だし、待つのには慣れてる。待つことで事態が好転することもあるのは分かってるけど。でもさ、待ってても無駄かなって時は迷わず行動しないとさ。逃げたところで何も解決なんかしない。何かを見捨てて逃げた結果に得られるのは、どうすることもできない後悔と他者を恨むことしかできない自分。そしてそんな自分が心底嫌になれば、生きていることすら罪になる。自責だけが罰になる。
She's talking straight from her own experience.
だから私は私の意志でもう二度と同じ後悔をしないために行動するって決めたんだよ。
She abandoned Kazuki. She's not gonna abandon Yuji.
そう。
Do as you please, then. Yumiko spoke the words somewhat brusquely, but Amane responded with a cheerful nod. And when the friend strode forward, she followed in her footsteps. Makina, how the hell did you get up on the gate? Get down from there! My god. Elsewhere, as this conversation was taking place, Irisu Makina was seated on top of the school gatepost, kicking her legs back and forth to demonstrate her boredom, while Komine Sachi tidied up the area with a bamboo broom.
ねえさっちん、いつまでそんなとこ掃除してんのよさ。
ごめんね。でもこれが最後のご奉公だから、今までありがとうってちゃんと学校にお礼をしてから。
Uh-huh. Since her arrival at Mihama Academy, Sachi had cleaned the area around the gate almost every single day. In cherry blossom season, and later when the leaves were falling, she'd actually swept up twice on a daily basis. Once cherry blossoms have fallen, they'll never return to their branches. But when the seasons turn, new blossoms will bloom in their place. If we, too, are blossoms destined to tumble from our branches, then let our final moments at least be beautiful ones. Let us strain against the wind, clinging desperately to life. And when we fall, let some noble observer murmur words of regret at our graceful passing. A life, once spent, is gone forever. And when you're conscious of this, even an utterly familiar courtyard you've swept countless times can bring tears to your eyes. Hey, wait a minute, you're not wearing a maid outfit? Why would I? Huh? Why would I be? How you doing, Golden? Sachi's wearing the maid outfit. So just because she is, I have to? No, it doesn't work that way. Also, that's a Mochi thing you gotta do. That's his girl. Jeez. Swallowing the lump in her throat, Komine Sachi looked down, bit her lip, and spotted in the corner of her eye Yumiko and Amane approaching.
お出かけですか?
As Sachi greeted them with a somewhat forced smile on her face, Yumiko replied with a casual grin of her own.
ええ、ちょっとそこまで。お帰りは何時頃でしょう?
They won't be.
それはちょっと私にもわからないわね。
Yumiko's tone was oddly gentle. On her back, she carried a remarkably large bag. Something about the way she held herself suggested a resolve that could no longer be shaken. Oh my god, Makina. Abruptly stopping the swinging of her legs, Makina smiled boldly down from her lofty perch. And tilting her head upward, Yumiko met her gaze.
邪魔をしないのならね。
そいつはあんたの命令次第だぜ。
命令しなければいい子でいられないような人はいりません。とりあえず私たちの誇りである美浜の門中からお尻を下ろしなさい。
しょうねえな。
Clicking her tongue resentfully, Makina hoisted herself up off the post with both hands and leapt nimbly to the ground.
ほんじゃさ、いい子にしてたら連れてってくれる?
She just said that, didn't she? Yumiko stared down at the diminutive young woman now standing in front of her. They couldn't approach this as a joke or some kind of game. It was entirely possible they'd be branded as traitors to their own country. Are you quite sure? In response to Yumiko's unspoken question, Makina met her gaze firmly and steadily. They were the eyes of a girl who had nothing to lose. Evidently overpowered by Makina's determination, Yumiko let out a small, quiet sigh of defeat. Taking this as her signal, Sachi silently appeared at Makina's side, still holding her bamboo broom.
マキちゃんが行くというのなら、私も行きます。
い
えたの？はい。マキちゃんも風見さんも命を落とす価値のある私の大切なお友達ですから。そう。
Just a simple I see. With those brief words, Yumiko turned back once more to look at Mihama Academy, which had been her home for so long.
一応学力重視の実力校を目指して設立されたのだけれど、集まったのはバカな女ばかりだったわね。
Idiots, were they? Well, it was hard to argue with that. But as they considered Yumiko's statement, the word idiot left everyone there thinking of a certain someone. Michiru?
もう一人のバカ
Yep.
は来ないのかな。
まだ悩んでるんじゃないかな。あの子、びっくりするぐらいバカだから。
Hey, she's dumb, but she's my dumb.
何をしているんでしょうか。あの黄色いバカ。
あの黄色、今日みんなが何をするかまるで分かってないんじゃね？
ああ、私かな。あの子、
Oh my god.
廊下の自動販売機の前でペットボトルの口に舌を突っ込んで
Oh,
してた
Michiru.
よ。なんか悩んでるみたいだったから声はかけなかったけど。
なんじゃそりゃ、呼んでくる？
無理に引っ張り出すこともないわ。そっとしておきなさい。
何？あいついらん子か？
If she wants to come, she'll catch up. Is that going to be your logic?
いえ、別にそういう意味じゃなくて。もう少し待ってみる？そうね。あと10分。6時まで待ってみましょうか。6時を過ぎても来なかった場合は
Then you guys
どうしま
go.
すか？
You leave her behind.
その時はそれも一つの道、それも勇気ある決断と認めて松島さんの選んだ進む先に幸多からんことを祈りましょう。
チルチル、何してんだよ。本当に置いてっちゃうぞ。
As much as they give her shit, they do want her to come along with them. 5 minutes ago, she decided that she was going. And now she was reconsidering. Yet again. She packed up everything she needed to leave and dashed out of her room. But even this late in the game, she couldn't help second-guessing herself. The more important something was, the harder it was for her to decide anything by herself. That was simply Matsushima Michiru's nature. She was afraid of being hurt. She'd think up excuse after excuse, then miss her chance entirely. And that was how it had always gone. It was, of course, for this very reason that her other self had come to be. The other girl inside her was nothing more than a shadow, the product of her own weakness. Are they trying to change what the other Bichuru was now? Because that, it requires an extensive rewrite. Holy hell. Well, not extensive, but that's a hell of a rewrite. That was one of the most big scenes at the end. We go back to the donor girl's mom to give them one final conversation without them knowing it was, her. Don't change it to just be, whatever. I guess they literally just wanted to go DID. Just full-on DID, just an actual second personality. Instead of just more or less the ghost of somebody else. It also, invalidates her after story in Labyrinth 2, so I don't know how to feel about that. But even knowing that... No, perhaps because she knew that, Michiru continued to doubt herself.
もう時間だよ。行かなくていいの？うん、わかってる。わかってるけどさ、もうちょっとだけ。
Oh, lighting a sparkler?
なんかさ、荷物の整理をしてたら、こんなの出てきた。花火？そう、花火。
多分去年の夏の残り。
いつだっけ？海に行った時？
All that time ago?
そう。ロケット花火がないことに文句ばっかり言ってた私に、少しは静かに遊べってあいつが私にくれたやつ。最後の一本。
遊ばずに取っておいたんだ。
うん。ずっとポケットの中にね。
Okay.
君ってさ、物持ち良すぎ。っていうか、彼がくれたものにまで依存してる。
Oh my god, all the stupid rocks he gave her.
自分でも分かってるよ。乙女チックすぎて逆に不気味だよね。
だから火をつけて燃やしてしまうの？
けじめってわけでもないけどね。
意味ないよ。きっと君は燃えかすになってもそれを大事にしてしまう。捨てたり忘れたりすることなんてできない。
そう思う？
かけてもいいよ。
何を？
命かけようか。
それ意味なくない？あんたの命って結局私の命でもあるわけだし。
多重人格ジョーク。
面白くない。
こういう時こそ暗い顔をしないで笑ってみせるのが君の役目なんじゃないの？
うん、分かってる。
No matter how well you understand what you need to do, sometimes you simply can't convince your body to move. At the end of the day, she was a coward. There was nothing wrong with a little cowardice. Yuji himself had told her that. But at times like this, she genuinely hated herself for her timidity. And because she understood this, the other girl inside her didn't pursue the matter too persistently. There was no point criticizing her for it.
花火綺麗ね。
そうだね。でも私はあんまり好きじゃない。
どこが嫌い？
綺麗に燃えるのはほんの一瞬。燃え終われば黒い燃えかすしか残らない。出来の悪い人生みたいで意味もなく寂しくなってくる。
一人でやるから寂しくなるのよ。花火って誰かとやるものよ。私は君の一部だし、君が生み出した私は
Okay, I'm not happy they changed it.
入らない。
Like, I'm not happy they changed how her other self works, but alright.
分かってる。
だったらこんなところで遊んでる場合じゃないんじゃないの？
分かってるってば。
Shouting at herself wasn't going to change anything. With every minute she spent on her own, the air grew thicker with melancholy. Eventually, the sparkler in Michiru's hand quietly burned itself out. The sight of its charred remains only intensified her loneliness.
もう引かなくちゃ。
Michiru wasn't entirely sure herself what she was feeling right now, staring down at her burnt-out firework. Only one vague thought came to mind. She wanted to see Yuji. Picking up her plastic bottle, she poured a bit of water onto the smoldering stick. Once it had cooled, she wrapped it carefully in a tissue. And then pushed it gently into her pocket, as if stowing away something truly precious. Michiru rose up off the ground. Not for the first time today. She found herself burning with determination. Oh my god, I read that like terribly. She wasn't going to tell herself it was for real this time. People who say that are just trying to convince themselves it's true. Still, there was a giddy energy inside her that hadn't been there before. For now, that was good enough. Bringing her bottle to her mouth, Michiru vigorously gulped down the water remaining within. The clock on the schoolhouse wall indicated that it was 6 p.m. They couldn't wait any longer. They're ready to leave. Michiru's going to be running after them, isn't she? She's still going to be running after them. It would be unfair to burden their friend with the assumption that she wanted to come with them. And so there would be no extensions.
時間ね。まあ、仕方がないか。
いや、でもチルチルだし、昼寝でもして寝過ごしてんじゃね。電話とかしてみた方が。
電話してなんて言うつもり？それに松島さんに何を言わせるつもり？諦めなさい。冷たいようだけれど、これも松島さんの選んだ道なのよ。残る桜もいずれは散る桜だよ、マキちゃん。
そうか。そうだね。
では出発の前に美浜学園にお別れの言葉。皆さん校舎に向かって整列してください。
Since their arrival here, many, many things had transpired. And when they tried to untangle their tangled web of remembrances, nothing but happy and heartwarming memories came to mind. No matter what society at large might think, that was proof enough that Mihama Academy had been a wonderful school. Looking up at the school building, Sachi began to speak in a voice full of emotion.
この学園で学び、この学園からいただいた翼で、私たちは飛び立つことができます。苦しい時も、悲しい時も、私たちはこの学園で得た記憶とともに立ち上がり、また嬉しい時も、楽しい時も、この学園の記憶とともに分かち合い、笑いましょう。ありがとう、美浜学園。本当にありがとう。その感謝の気持ちに深く神戸を垂れ、泥の中で手を丸め、銃を強く握りしめたのなら、ただひたすらに前へ。平和に暮らす者の明日のために、私たちの今日を捧げましょう。私たちは本日この時をもって、我が栄光ある美浜学園を飛び立ちます。美浜学園学生代表クラス委員小峰幸。
As she spoke those words, Sachi bowed her head deeply toward the school building. A moment later, everyone else there followed her example. When they raised their heads and looked past the school building to the twilight sky, what were these graduates thinking of? Did they have regrets? Were there things they'd left undone? It was fair to say they'd done all they could. But even so, there was perhaps a touch of sadness in their hearts at the prospect of parting from one of their friends they'd made here. However, the time had come to say farewell. Until the day they met again. Oh, they're acting like she fucking died. Just giving her the fucking faded portrait in the sky treatment. She didn't die. She's just being indecisive. Oh my god. Oh god. Sorry, I had a little itch on my back there. In the red-tinged sunset above them, they thought they could see the face of a certain bottle-blonde imbecile. It was an honor, Michiru. You're in our hearts. Come to think of it, why had that woman always smelled like grapefruit anyway? Farewell, dumbass! Oh my god. At the very last moment, you chose the wiser path. That decision took courage, and we'll never forget it. Well then, let's be on our way. There's a whole new world waiting for us. With firm resolve in their hearts, they turn their backs on their school to take their first step forward. And in that very moment, a shrill but familiar sound reached their ears. It's gonna be a mate! Hmm? Well then, what manner of language was this? Although it was difficult to say for certain, it almost sounded as if someone was shrieking, "Hey, wait up!" in an exceptionally peculiar fashion. Stopping in their tracks, the group turned toward the noise and found themselves face to face with a vividly blonde creature. What the fuck you got in your mouth? Were you seriously gonna leave me behind? What's the big idea? The bottle blonde, currently emitting odd noises that sounded like something like this, was unmistakably Matsushima Michiru herself. A plastic bottle was dangling from her face. Her tongue appeared to be stuck. Why is she licking the inside of a water bottle? For fuck's sakes. How does your tongue get stuck in a bottle? For fuck's sakes, Michiru. How? How? What could you even say? Staring at her friend with eyes full of scorn, Makina reached up and yanked forcefully on the bottle in question. God. With an unpleasant little porch, Michiru's tongue popped free from its prison, sending drool flying in all directions. As their dim-witted classmate writhed in agony, holding a hand to her mouth with tears in her eyes, a single thought ran through everyone's heads. Here she is. The dumbass showed up. This was something they should all be celebrating. They understood that, of course. But even so, it was hard not to furrow your brow with such a virtuoso display of sheer dumbassery. All eyes turned to Yumiko.
ユミちゃんさ、もう一回聞くのよ。本当にこの子いらん子じゃないの？うぐじゃないわよ。この私を置いていこうだなんて10年どころか100億光年早いのよ。
みちる様、光年は距離の単位です。
Shut up. Just shut up. Maybe she meant parsec. I don't know. Oh no, that's also a unit of distance. Never mind. Shit. Having a Han Solo moment here. Which I love how the Star Wars canon, both Legends and current Disney canon, have done the best they can to justify him saying parsecs. They've done so much to justify it. legends going with the excuse, the Kessel Run involves you, like, kind of swinging between a whole bunch of different black holes. So you can get less distance depending on how close you are to that black hole or some shit. I don't know. And, like, that was it. The Falcon was just kind of able to veer a little closer to those black holes and lower how much distance was between their destination. The Disney canon was they made a cut through, in, like, a very thick asteroid belt. And, or inner space storm? A storm in space that also had a black hole and a giant Lovecraftian monster hiding inside of it. So they're able to make the trip a lot shorter, but that was out of desperation. They were running into a Star Destroyer that was blocking the only way through. And nobody believes he did the Kessel Run that way. So then, let's be real. Han Solo is a smooth talker, but, yeah, no. He has high charisma, but shit luck. He can talk a good game, but it never works out for him. Ever. Look at all the movies and stuff, guys. Han Solo talks a good game, but it never turns out well for him, ever. Nothing actually works out. He thinks he's this cool, awesome dude. It's just, I can talk my way out of any situation, and all it does is get him into an even worse situation. It's like, just, Han, shut up. It's figure of speech, not finger. Truly, this girl was a peerless idiot. What could he even say in the face of such artistry? An uncomfortable silence stretched out for quite some time. But in the end, Amane managed to muster enough willpower to speak. Yeah, let's go. Rather upset by how quickly they moved past her dramatic last-minute arrival, Michiru began to object angrily, but... Matsushima Michiru set off at a desperate run, trying to catch up with her comrades. But as she wasn't really looking where she was going, she ended up smacking right into a passing pedestrian. Michiru immediately apologized, but the pedestrian just glanced at her, then stood up and walked off silently. The woman had in fact been somewhat rude, so Michiru's indignation was at least somewhat understandable. But if Yuji had been around, he'd probably have pointed out that she didn't have much room to criticize anyone else for wearing heavy coats in the middle of summer. Oh my god, they went through the after-story things too. They went through the Labyrinth after-story stuff too, just modified. So they went through the whole go on a date while wearing a heavy winter coat. Oh my fucking god. Of course, Yuji wasn't here to make that observation. But as of this moment, their operation to reclaim him had begun in earnest. God damn it. She hastened once more to rejoin the group, and soon enough, she tripped over her own shoe and tumbled dramatically to the ground. That, my friends, was Matsushima Michiru in a nutshell. Oh my god. Why did I choose this idiot? We're getting the opening now. Okay. Alright, we're getting the opening. Took a while, but we're here now. My god, this game is over 10 years old. Oh my god, Michiru's birthday's in Christmas? Okay, it took us a few times to finally get to the opening. We're 19% of the way through the game. Why do these games take so long for the opening to happen? Like, my god. I'm like 5 streams in and just now got the opening. Whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, we'll keep going. Still a little early. But good song. All the Grisaia openings have been good. I've really liked all the openings. Having willingly abandoned their former headquarters in dramatic fashion, Sakaki Yumiko and her party now found themselves riding a train toward a new base of operations. Now the story begins. Yeah. Took us like 10 hours because I'm a slow as fuck reader. Where the hell are you taking? You going to one of the places you lived with Yuji for a bit? And then what? Is the dad gonna have a fist fight with Yuji anyway? Knowing that she couldn't really justify her current course of action to her parents did inspire a certain amount of guilt. Nobody among them was fully convinced that the choice they'd made was the correct one. But they'd risen to their feet in the face of an impossible dilemma and taken a step forward. If nothing else, they could take pride in that. A houseboat? Okay.
そう、川。このボートハウスが私たちの新しい寮よ。
Okay, houseboat it is.
いや、ボートハウスっていうか、屋形船じゃん。なんで屋形船？
Don't just accept it, okay?
いざとなったら隠れ家ごと移動できる方がいいかと思って。
That's fair.
小発動艇みたいでかっこいいじゃん。私お船大好き。
センスはどうかと思うけど、元が老船ならキッチンもあるだろうし。
You better have a kitchen.
あるよね。中古ネットで買ったから、私も現物を見るのは初めてなの。
Oh my god, that is scary to do.
しかも書類だけ落札して船体は間に合わせの後付けだから、こんな船だとは思ってなかったわ。鍵だけは受け取ってあるから、とにかく中に入ってみましょうか。
Okay.
いや、まあ、確かにうわーっとしか言葉が出ないな。なんか雑然？タイとかベトナムの方でこういう船ありそうだよね。
You can work with it though. This can work.
おかしいわね。確か書類にはキッチン、トイレ完備、ベッド数6、最新の GPS ナビゲーションシステム搭載って記載されていたのに。
Well, the GPS is going to be in, you know, at the helm. So, yeah, the GPS is going to be in the helm. No problem there. I can see 3 sets of bunk beds, so there's the 6 beds. The kitchen, no idea. Toilets, it's probably going to be a single closet.
確かにベッドは6個あるのよ。釣り床に比べれば士官待遇なのよさ。後でベッドの場所じゃんけんで決めようぜ。一応トイレっぽいものはあるわね。床に穴が開いてるだけのようにも見えるけど。
Yep, it's just like a closet.
ねえ、キッチンってこの小さな流し台と業務用コンロが2口だけ？っていうか、このプロパン燃料入ってるのかな？
Okay, listen, you're not going to get full massive luxury on a boat, guys, unless you're paying big money. This is pretty good. It's spacious. Again, it's a houseboat. It's a simple enough houseboat. You got rooms for beds, couch, just a chill area. You got a little mini kitchen so you can make small meals. This is good. This is fine. Plus, you said you wanted something that you could, you know, be able to get out an emergency in, and a houseboat works. She also did buy, you know, bid for this and won it sight unseen.
一応操舵室には衛星用アンテナとナビっぽいものがついてますね。あとなぜか魚群探知機がついてますが、これはサメを釣れということでしょうか。
Sachi, enough with you and the sharks.
釣らんでよろしい。とにかく想像していたものとは少し違うけれど、キューバに手に入れたと思えば上等でしょう。以降、本船を私たちの行動拠点とします。
まあそりゃいいんだけど、誰が動かすの？ユミちゃん、お船の免許持ってんの？
Oh, you got a license for that?
私は持ってないわ。
そんな力強く言われても。
Alright, so now someone has to spend the money to get a boating license so you can actually take this thing off of the dock. For now, it's just gonna sit here.
スオさん、あなた一級小型船舶持ってるんでしょ？
Does a houseboat count as a Class 1 boat?
え？話したっけ？入学時の審査書類の資格の欄に、普通自動車と普通二輪の他に、一級小型船舶と特定操縦免許って記載されてたわよね。ああ、うん。ほら、私の実家の料亭って、
Okay, never mind, we're good.
持っててさ、夏には水上料亭をやってたから。
Alright, Amane is the captain of the boat then.
美浜に来る前は実家の仕事を手伝うつもりだったし、車の免許と同時期に一級小型船舶と特捜を取ったんだよね。って言っても、免許取ってからは2回ぐらいしか操船したことないけど、大丈夫かな？
What can best girl not do? There you go. There you go, Nick. She can do a lot. She can do a lot.
基本的に病白状態を前提として動かすのはいざという時に限定すれば問題ないんじゃないかしら。もともとあなたが今回の件に参加しなければそうするつもりだったし。なるほど。それでも一応テストはしておいた方がいいよね。そもそもエンジン生きてるのかな、このボロ船。ちょっと調べてみるよ。
Yeah, best to figure out what's going wrong with it now because, yeah, boat's kind of expensive.
つうか、あまねえは何でも免許持ってるのな。リク帰っときたら次は食う？飛行機の免許は持ってねえの？
ああ、それはまだ。
まだって言いやがった。
Not yet.
そのうち取るつもりだったのか。
つうかさ、どうでもいいけど、なんかこの船すっごい天ぷらの匂いしない？
Is that a problem?
元が屋形船だし、その辺は我慢するしかないわね。
そういえばまだ晩ご飯食べてないのよさ。落ち着いたらお腹が減ったのよ。
なんだか天ぷらが食べたくなってきたわね。あまね、天ぷらとか作れないの？
Oh my god.
粉とか油の材料はあるけど食材がないな。では何か食材をゲットしましょうか。近所にスーパーとかあったかな？
You're not gonna suggest they go fishing, right?
いえ、せっかくですから
Of
釣りましょう。
course.
I wanna be a little fishing.
With this remark, Sachi retrieved a fishing rod from the bag on her back and began to set up her tackle. Apparently, it had been included in the survival kit that came with her maid uniform, along with a number of lures, as a mean of procuring food if she were to find herself adrift at sea. In a maid uniform. The oddly specific maid uniform she got. Sachi had already tried the rod out on several occasions and eventually learned to make effective use of it. Oh great, we're getting the intense music. It was a well-balanced piece of equipment, allowing the user to cast accurately. Although lightweight and designed for precision, it was sturdy enough to handle sizable game. Despite its compact size, it was equipped with a large and whisper-quiet drive gear. And the cutting-edge Star Drag reel boasted a digital braking system with 32 pre-programmed settings. Okay, holy shit. Why is there like this like state-of-the-art fucking fishing rod inside a survival kit? With this peerless piece of performance gear, a wounded soldier separated from her comrades would surely obtain the necessary nutrition to stave off starvation. Jesus! It was, in a sense, the glorious pinnacle of all mankind's achievements. A fucking fishing rod in a survival kit? Oh my god. Really? She had a fucking new type flash fishing? Understandably enough, Sachi was getting somewhat carried away. As the maid caught countless yellowfin gobies, Amane turned them into salted tempura. The group had agreed to discuss their plans as they ate.
つうかさ、本当に殺人はどこへ行っても通用するな。
想定されるどのような緊急事態にも即応可能な万能突撃クソメイド。それが小峰幸だよ、マキちゃん。
All around ass wipe assault? What the f-
そのうちイギリスあたりからメイドをネタにすることで国辱を受けるといった類のクレームが入るんじゃないかしら。どうでもいいんじゃない？天ぷら美味しいし。
God damn it, Michiru.
ちょっとみちる、あんた食べ過ぎじゃない？揚げ物はあんまり食べると気持ち悪くなるよ。平気平気。サチ、どんどん釣りなさい。はーい、どんどん釣れますよ。
Okay, then. They'd finally summoned the resolve to leave the comfortable prison of Mihama behind, and now they were living in a cramped old boat. True, they were all accustomed to adversity, but it was still rather impressive that everyone had gone along with this so readily. Under the circumstances, Yumiko wasn't exactly eager to start bossing the group around as if she'd been elected leader. But since she'd brought them out here, she felt a certain responsibility to steer things forward. Oh, new outfits. Okay, cool. Okay, I like new outfits.
別に責任を押し付けるつもりはないけど、それでも何の考えもなしに飛び出したわけじゃないんでしょ？断片的な情報は今も少しずつ集まっているし、風見雄二の現在位置も市ヶ谷の本社の地下にいることはすでに分かっています。問題は本社のどこに監禁されているのかということ。
だから地下じゃん。今自分でそう言ってたじゃんけ。
Okay, so far Amane doesn't have a new outfit.
本社の地下といっても相当に広いらしいわ。情報提供者の自民岡田にしても入れる区画に制限があって、何階層あって何区画あるのか把握しきれていないそうよ。
見取り図とかないの？
No, we got nothing.
図面はあるわ。でも図面にも記載されていない一区画が存在するそうだし、風見くんがどこに監禁されているのかも推測しかできない。それ以前に本当に監禁されているのかって疑問もあるよね。風見雄二は施設に拘束されてるってJB とかって女が言ってたじゃない。そういうことじゃなくてさ、上からの命令で強制的に閉じ込められてるんじゃなくて、雄二自身の意思で引きこもってるんじゃないってことなんだけど、風見くん本人が組織に対して協力的であった場合、組織側も逃亡の危険はないとの判断をしていれば、会いに行くのはそう難しくはないはず。けれど、もし武力及び権力的な拘束を受けていた場合は、面会なんて話にもならないわね。止めることもできた報道をあえてテレビで流させたということは、市ヶ谷さんも彼を檻から外に出す気はないということでしょうし、会いに行けばまず間違いなく面倒を見る。
Yeah, absolutely would.
彼自身の会いたくないという言葉も、それを危惧しての言葉だと受け取れば納得はいくわ。なんか難しくなってきたわね。
Oh
も
my
っと
god.
簡単に説明できないの
Michiru, come on!
会いに行ったら素直には返してもらえない覚悟が必要。もし会えたとしても彼を連れ出すのは無理でしょうね。
Okay, there you go.
はい、またまた釣れましたよ。よっしゃ、まね、じゃんじゃんあげて。いや、あげるけどさ、あんた本当に食べ過ぎよ。
Oh no, I want fried fish.
揚げ物は急にお腹がいっぱいになるから、食べられるうちにどんどん食べないと後で絶対お腹がすくじゃないのよ。まあわかるけど、松島さん聞いてる？誰のために説明してるんだけど。
Yeah, I'm only explaining this just for you.
なんだっけ？
Fuck's sakes. This is the one I chose, guys. This is the one I chose.
そんな困ったような顔して私を見ないでよ。それと殴っちゃダメ。これ以上バカになったら困るでしょ。
Oh no, tempura is hot? Who knew? Remember that? That I chose this one? That I chose the idiot? Why exactly did we bring this one along? As Michiru jerked her head around, moaning about the temperature of her tempura, Yumiko gazed at her earnestly. She wasn't a bad girl by any means, but honestly. Completely indifferent to the mournful gaze that was fixed upon her, Michiru swallowed down her mouthful of fried fish, then jabbed out her index finger and spoke. Even the game is roast. She's the butt of every joke. Like, god damn.
つまりあれでしょ。結局のところ美浜を飛び出したってだけで状況はほとんど変わってないんでしょ。
まあそうね。自己責任で行動できるようになったというぐらいで、迂闊に動けないという意味では何も変わっていないわ。
で、どうすんのよ。
それを話し合っているんでしょ今。
Oh my god. She's the Luigi punching bag in Oh my god.
統治法で起こった。いや、そうないよ、こらいでも。っていうか、言うつうとり。
結局のところ何をするにも情報が足りないっていう状況は何も変わってねえのな。
そうね。
別にユミちゃんのこと無能って言ってるわけじゃねえのよ。つまりこれからは自己責任という名目で今までにはできなかった情報集めをしようってことなんでしょ。
Okay, she's picking up what she's putting down.
今までにはできなかったってどういうことよ。椅子に座って集められる情報に限界が来たら次は潜入しかねえのよ。
Yeah, time to actually get your hands dirty.
潜入。
海軍では昔から目で見えるものは見て確認せよという言葉があるのよさ。
Apparently, this was something Machina had learned from Yuji during one of their marksmanship sessions in Mihama's courtyard. No matter how sure you are that the chamber of your rifle is empty, it's unsafe to act on the basis of that assumption. It might seem like a pain sometimes, but you always stick your finger into the chamber and peek inside, and make absolutely damn sure. Yup. Even if you are told that gun on the ground is empty and unloaded, there's nothing in it, you always treat it as if it is loaded. You treat it as it is loaded unless you have made sure yourself 100%, no doubt in your mind that it is unloaded. Always, 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 always. And that's going to be making sure it's open, the chamber is all clear, the safety is on, and yeah. Always, always, always treat it as if it is loaded and ready to fire, until you have made sure yourself that it is not.
NANI?!
Instructions unclear, certain body part is stuck in the weapon. Do not the firearm! Also, come on, Nick, what was so unclear about that? It's just... If someone hands you a gun, tells you it's unloaded, don't assume it's unloaded. They could be lying to you. Make damn sure yourself it's unloaded and safe to handle. Let it go, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Fill the gun with... Do not, Golden! My god! Alright guys, give it 9 months and Golden's gonna have a bunch of little derringers on his hands. Yes, that's how pistols are born, for fuck's sakes. Do not the gun. Her name is Oh, for fuck's sakes. Why do two people in my community want to fuck a gun? Why? Why is that a sentence I just had to say? Can name the boy Smith. Oh, for... Seriously, guys? Seriously? His twin is named West. Oh my god. Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alright. Whatever. Go ahead. Go ahead. Whatever. I can't convince you otherwise. Go ahead. Go ahead. Whatever. Well, now I don't wanna... Don't get all, you know, oppositional defiance on me, you son of a bitch!
きっととかだろうで行動すれば、自分だけではなく500人からなる戦艦乗組員全員を死に至らしめるということなのよ。
Now I'm going to wear hearing protection.
きっとお兄ちゃんはここにいるだろうみたいな憶測だけで行動すれば全滅する。だったらまずは敵地に潜入してお兄ちゃんの所在を目視確認した上で確実な情報を得る。軍人は目で見て指突っ込んでまずは確認する。これ大事じゃね。
言ってることはわかるけど、潜入ってそんな簡単にはうまくいかないでしょうに。
Oh my god, guys! The bang is loud. It'll be a blast. Jesus.
建物を警備してるのは民間の警備会社だし、その奥にいる社員も銃は下げてても弾なんか入ってないのよさ。
As long as you hit the target.
特別警戒地区の警備にしても支給される弾はたったの数発。これほど無防備な国防組織は世界中を探してもめったにないのよ。
詳しいな。それもユージに聞いたの？
しまった。部活にも国防機密を漏らしてしまったのよさ。
バッカバカしい。それこそ無謀じゃない。一見してバカバカしい意見も無視しないってのが意味のある会議なんだってさ。
Why is Yumiko laughing?
なんで笑うの？いえ、別に。
Amane herself did have some idea why Yumiko had chuckled at her. Many years had passed since that incident, but she was still parroting Kazuki's words. And at times like these, she couldn't help wishing Kazuki was here to help them. She knew it was long past time to move on, but there wasn't much she could do. By this point, it was basically just part of her personality.
では、潜入というプランを少し真剣に検討してみましょうか。
I am actually gonna end here for the night. Seems like a little weird spot, but I'll just gonna end off here for the night. Oh. Actually, a little more tired than I thought. I actually went to bed pretty early yesterday. Oof. Eventually I'll get up to start doing longer streams. Maybe if I try to start earlier, I don't know. But it's okay though. It is okay. Because we still have Grisaia tomorrow. Still at 6 o'clock. We will still do some more Grisaia. Oh, I would want to just continue doing this into next week, but I don't want to push every other game that I'm also in the middle of behind again. I've got a schedule made for next week already, I'll probably post that later tonight. But, yeah. If things go how I think they're gonna go with next week, then I should be able to get at least one game finished off from the list that I've got going right now. But for now, just Eden of Grisaia tomorrow at 6. Continue right where we left off, then planning an infiltration after buying a houseboat. It looks like this one is going to be more focused on the girls than anything. Eden looks to be focused more on the girls side of things right now, because we've had more time with them than we've had with Yuji, which is quite surprising, honestly. Actually, quite surprising. I don't really have anything else for you guys right now. Other than me just, thinking over how I'm going to do the schedules in the future still. Whether I'll keep doing how I've been doing, like, dedicate a week to a game and keep switching up. Or do, like, one game for a specific day, just to kind of make it structured. And to maybe make all the games potentially go a little faster, because then again, I'm playing them once a week compared to 4 times a month. I mean, I'd be playing them the same amount of time, just you guys would see it more frequently. I don't know. Still thinking it over. I might, maybe April. Maybe in April. Once we get into April, I'll switch over to that for a month or 2. Doing specific games for specific days. But we'll see. So, with all that said, thank you everybody for watching, commenting, and lurking. Appreciate it very, very much. Yeah, so 6 o'clock tomorrow, more Grisaia. Get a little bit further. Until then, though, I hope you all have yourselves a great rest of your night, and I'll see you next time.